After helping entrepreneurs and friends raise over $7 million for the Kickstarter campaigns, including $1.2 million for my own 2 successful Kickstarter launches, I've learned a lot about the successful strategies that help people to make profitable campaigns. More importantly though, I've learned a lot about the mistakes that people can easily avoid if they want to make sure they have a profitable launch. You can make a lot of money, but if you're not profitable, what's the point? So in this video, I'm going to be diving into the top 5 mistakes that you want to avoid and look out for if you want to make sure you make money when you launch a Kickstarter campaign. If you're excited for the content in this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for every time we launch a video. Let's dive into it. So we should all be familiar with the profit equation for e-commerce. It's as simple as your profit per unit sold equals your revenue per unit minus your cost of goods. If you don't have a healthy margin, let alone a margin at all, then you're not going to have a successful business. It's easy for us to get lost as marketers, as creative people, in the branding, in the marketing campaigns, but it's easy for us to overlook the cost of goods. So whereas most other people focus on things like Facebook ads, optimizing your funnels, your website, and those are really great creative strategies, I want to focus on the numbers game, the unit cost for every single piece that you sell. And if you can have a healthy margin on a unit scale for every unit that you sell, your foundation for success from a financial and profit perspective is going to be so much greater. So the number one mistake that most people make before launching a product on Kickstarter is they don't even know what their cost of goods is. At the very minimum, you have to have quotes from your manufacturer so that you know what the bottom line is per unit. If your expenses are not clear, then how do you know you're even making a profit? You know, you could be charging $20 per unit, you could be making $10 margin, but unless you really know all of the costs involved, you could be running red. And that's what you need to know. So have clarity on the cost of goods. How do you do that? You reach out to manufacturers. It could be through Alibaba, it could be through a sourcing agent. But the point is to get a scale. Get the lowest cost of goods that you can find, get the highest cost of goods and what you can find from manufacturers, whether it's in China, Vietnam, India. And it's even better if you can get them to make a working prototype. Oftentimes, Chinese manufacturers that I've worked with will just give you a set price that they're familiar with. But until they actually make the product, they won't actually know the costs involved. There might be defect rates that you don't know. There might be other costs around packaging, shipping, logistics. So all of these are things that you should know when it comes to your cost of goods. The second most common mistake that people make is they don't use the 5X rule. The 5X rule is simply taking your cost of goods from step 1 and you multiply that cost of goods by 5X. So for example, if my cost of goods for a product is $5, multiply it by 5, I get $25 as a retail price I should be charging to the end consumer. The reason why this is so important and a great general rule of thumb is because when you sell on e-commerce, you have things like platform fees from Kickstarter or Indiegogo, which is around 5%. You have payment processing fees, that's 3%. Advertising fees from anyone that's helping you run ads on Facebook, and that can range from a commission-based structure for attributable sales or a commission-based structure based on total revenue that you've raised on your Kickstarter. So that'll range from anywhere from 12% all the way up to 20 to 25%. So most agencies will not cover the cost of ads as part of working with you. You usually have to cover that yourself. And if your ROAS is around the industry average, which is around 20-30%, then you also have to consider that as part of your cost per sale. If you're going for the wholesale retail distribution strategy, then your wholesaler that you're selling to will usually ask for 50% margin on the suggested retail price. So again, if you're starting with a $25 retail price to the consumer, the wholesaler will ask to buy from you for about $12.50. So that's 50% margin for them. On top of that, you'll want to make a margin when you sell it to them. So if your cost of goods is 50% of that, then your cost of goods should be no more than about $6. So $6 for you, the cost of goods, you make 50% on that. So you charge $12.50 to the wholesaler, and then they charge an extra 50% on that. So they charge $25 to the customer. Hopefully that makes sense, but the 5X rule really works well for both the distribution strategy and the online e-commerce strategy if you plan to sell direct to customer. So the 5X rule is a really basic calculation that helps you to set the foundation for what you should be charging, as well as helping you to understand if you have a profitable business model on a per unit basis. The third big mistake that entrepreneurs make when launching new products is they don't consider the size and volume of the product and the impact on the shipping cost. The biggest red flag I can give you up front is your product over 2 kilograms after the shipping box and the retail packaging? The reason why this 2 kilogram threshold is so important can be demonstrated by the simple example. Let's say one of my customers in Canada wants to ship a package from China, and that package normally costs $20 for shipping. Now let's say that customer wants to ship 2 units. Because I'm shipping the 2 orders together, it's only 30 bucks, right? So the customer perceives to save $10 if they order 2. The thing is, if that individual order weighs 2 kilograms or more, I don't get that cost savings by putting things together in a single shipping order. Now, if my package is over 2 kilograms, it might cost me at least $20 per package. If I have 2 items over 2 kilograms, instead of being charged 30 bucks for 2 packages, I'm getting charged 40 bucks, maybe even 50 bucks. So the negative impact of this is your customers no longer to be incentivized to increase their average order value because they don't have that savings on shipping. Or if you want to incentivize the shipping without having that actual savings on shipping, you're going to have to take it out of your own pocket. So there's a real cost involved with having a package that's over 2 kilograms in weight. So the way you apply this rule is you take the 2 kilogram threshold, you divide it by 4 to get 500 grams. 500 grams is your ideal product weight, including all the retail packaging. That means that your customer can purchase multiple add-on items, put them in the same box for shipping, and they'll save on shipping. So they'll be incentivized to buy more. And if they go over the 2 kilogram threshold, no worries, because you've made enough margin on the first 4 units to be able to give them the savings on the shipping. So before we jump into the last 2 mistakes, I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the optimization tactics and strategies you use to make sure you have a really healthy cost of goods that results in a profitable launch? Let me know in the comments below. The 4th big mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make when they launch new products is they don't validate the retail selling price. Validate, validate, validate. I can't stress this enough. If you don't test the price point of your product, you could be leaving money on the table. If you could be charging more for your product, how would you know unless you test for it? On the other end of the spectrum, if you also don't test, you could be charging too much, resulting in a lower conversion rate. So you should be testing on any platform you launch on, whether it's Kickstarter crowdfunding, Shopify, or Amazon. So the way you test and validate your price point is pretty simple. You'd put up a test landing page, and you can put up fake photos, renders, competitor products. The point is you want to drive paid traffic and optimize for the best price to charge and find out which converts the best. You'll have to invest some money to create the landing page and to run the ads, but trust me, it's worth the investment. You want to know what your ideal selling price point is so you don't leave money on the table, and so you know that you're running a product that is actually going to make money for you. The 5th and final mistake that most entrepreneurs make when they launch new products on Kickstarter is they don't calculate the minimum return on ad spend when working with Facebook ad agencies. Most successful Kickstarter campaigns work with Facebook ad agencies that have specialization in crowdfunding campaigns. The reason why they are so good at it is because they have the mature Facebook pixel, and they also have the custom audiences, and they've really honed it down to a science. But the thing is, whenever you work with these agencies, you have to set that minimum return on ad spend. So you should know your cost of goods, you should know your CPA from running the price validation tests on your landing pages. So you should have a baseline for what the minimum break-even point is for your return on ad spend. The thing is, you can set those minimums with any agency that you work with. You can say, I don't want to have a return on ad spend less than 3x or 10x or 50x. It's really up to you to set that with them. So those are the top 5 mistakes that most entrepreneurs make whenever they launch new Kickstarter products. Remember that the cost of goods and optimizing for the cost of goods is just as important, if not more, than the top line revenue. There's no point of making a shitload of money if you're not profitable on every sale. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe, and if you have anything to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. That's all for Playground Theory. I'll see you in the next one.